Two major additions to Tennessee's board this week. The first one, five-star wide receiver Tristen Keys flips from LSU to the Tennessee Volunteers. Man, this dude is so talented. We're going to take a deeper look into the film in a little bit. This was a major win for Tennessee, who not only had to beat out LSU, but Miami and other schools as well. Another intra-SEC flip, Kamari Blair flips from South Carolina to Tennessee. This is another very talented offensive lineman. We're going to start by taking a deeper look at Tristen Keys' film. He's a 6'2.5" wide receiver from Mississippi. Was originally committed to LSU. All summer, it seemed like Tennessee had a whole lot of momentum in his recruitment, but the flip just did not happen. It kind of seemed like he was actually trending back towards LSU. I know Miami was heavily involved in his recruitment as well. But Josh Heupel got it done. Tristen Keys is a guy that's going to walk into Knoxville and be an impact player the second that he steps onto campus. Really fluid movements at 6'2.5". He's such a good route runner. Just a really effective three-phase wide receiver. You know, him as a route runner, him at the catch point, and then him with the ball in his hands. This is a guy that I have no issue with playing very extensively, very early in his career. Kamari Blair was the other flip Tennessee pulled off this week, 6'5.5" offensive lineman. I really do think this guy projects as an offensive tackle at the next level. Certainly has the length needed to play that position, but the athleticism to kind of get to the edge as well. Just a real mauler in the run game also. I'm not really sure why 24/7 has this dude as a 3-star. He's a composite 4-star. At the end of the day, doesn't really matter. It doesn't take that much to watch the film and kind of see that he's a pretty high-end offensive line prospect. We're going to talk about the Tennessee commits that did play this week in a little bit, but I want to start by talking about the two that did not play. Faison Brandon, hand injury. Doesn't seem too serious. Was sidelined this week. Seems like he's ready to go next week, but we'll follow it as it develops. Hand injury, probably nothing too serious. Tristen Keys also didn't play this week. I was so excited. I actually found the Hattiesburg live stream replay, which I usually don't find. I was so ready to watch Tristen Keys' first game of his senior year. His first game as a Tennessee commit, and in the first frame, I saw a dude in crutches. And I was like, that face looks really familiar. I'm pretty sure that's Tristen Keys. It was Tristen Keys. He was injured. He didn't play this past week. The good news is it doesn't seem too serious an injury, but it is something worth monitoring. Now, these other Tennessee receiver commits certainly stepped up in Keys' absence. Salisi Moa, how about him? 7 catches, 130 yards, 1 touchdown. Legend Bay plays quarterback for his high school. Going to play receiver for Tennessee. Really effective day for him. 141 rushing yards, 4 total touchdowns. Passed the ball really well also. Tyreek King also found the end zone. 1 touchdown, 4 catches, 72 yards. Starting with Legend Bay's performance, North Forney blows out Skyline 51-0. Large part in thanks to what Legend Bay did. I've kind of touched on it before. Playing a bit more of a quarterback spot, not just a receiver. You know, that's what we think Tennessee's recruiting him as. That's what Tennessee's recruiting him as. But we can see the ability with the ball in his hands. Just too much for Skyline to handle. Every time he touched the ball, seemed like a touchdown waiting to happen. Just checks the box athletically. You know, we're not trying to do an evaluation here, but the explosiveness, the change of direction, just too much. Local product Tyreek King also showed out this week with 4 catches, 72 yards, and a receiving touchdown. Knoxville Catholic advances to 2-0 after beating Anderson County 21-7. Zay Anderson also found the end zone this week. Going to play corner when he gets to the next level, but had a 21-yard receiving touchdown as Greenville edges out Upperman. Tennessee had a nice start to the season, beating Syracuse 45-26. Going to look to follow up that performance against East Tennessee next week. Really good week for Tennessee on and off the field. Just talking about what happened against Syracuse. Really like what we saw from Joey Aguilar this week. Not going to be your long-term answer. You know, this dude's a senior. He's out of eligibility after this year. But really tough spot, Heupel, and even Aguilar. Just the Vols in general with the whole Nico Amaliva situation. Really tough spot to just find a quarterback, bring him in, and have him be effective. Looked pretty dang effective against Syracuse this week. So, you know, I'm not going to lie. I was kind of bearish on Tennessee to start the season. Just on a sole fact based off of the quarterback situation. Looks like it's not as bad as I thought. You know, long-term, having Faison Brandon committed in this 26 class, the dude's going to be so good. Just not sure who the starter is going to be in 26. It's kind of tough to ask Faison Brandon to play high school football in 2025 and then ask him to be an SEC quarterback the next year. You know, if we're talking 27, I feel so good about him long term, but just not sure about next year. Aguilar out of eligibility, probably going to be a transfer portal situation. That's neither here nor there. You know, like I said, really hot on the field, really good performance on the field. Adding Tristen Keys in this 26 class, you know, it seemed imminent at one point, but it kind of seemed like no action meant that it was favoring LSU since he was committed there. Ends up flipping to Tennessee. Really good talent. You know, Tennessee also missed out on Savion Hyder, Darius Gray. Dude, I want to be upset about it, but, you know, Hyder was such a tough recruitment. You know, Michigan wanted him bad. That dude's such a good football player. I think for Tennessee to be in it as long as they were was really good to do that. I just think now we're going to see them be aggressive at running back. You know, I talked about it a couple weeks ago, but That's really the one position in this 26 class on the offensive side of the ball that you kind of don't love how they treated it. And, that's not to say that they didn't do a good job in Savion Hyder. Just right now, what they have committed right now, certainly going to need to address running back. But, Darius Gray also, another one that was going to be really tough to pull off. But for the most part, I think Tennessee really hot on the field, really hot off the field. Going to be interested to see how they kind of close out this 26 class and then the 27 developments as they happen.